Stepping into values is a fascinating, complex journey. It means diving into deeper dimensions of our identity, dealing with the intangible. Nevertheless, the more we dive, the more we become aware of this multifaceted dimension of ours. Diving deeper, then, is really worth it. According to some dictionaries, one way to define values is to say that they are about what is good and desirable. This includes what we consider good and desirable for ourselves and for others, but also what we consider bad, undesirable, and improper. In schematic illustrations on this topic, values are represented as a force that drives us in our life. Some of these schemes describe our internal system as an idealized way and in a hierarchy where values interact with beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. Beliefs, ideas, something we hold to be true without any real fact. Values, a set of guiding principles. Attitudes, the way we approach situations and relate with others. Behaviors, the way we act. Our lives are regulated by a continuous interaction between these internalized systems. Values are about what is important to us, both consciously and unconsciously. They drive our decisions, actions, and relations. But what about values when it comes to identifying and assessing them? Even more, where do they fit in a competence-based approach and in youth work? We know that in different educational systems, it is easier to identify and assess skills and knowledge, while assessing attitudes is a more complex endeavor. And what is even more difficult to assess? Yes, values. But that does not mean that it is not possible. The first thing to take into consideration is that not everything is always measurable with a measuring stick, and not everything needs to go into a scored grid. When talking and working around values, a consistent reflection process is key to becoming more aware of our own values. How do our values form? What are their sources? Family, friends and peers, organizations, school, media? Reflecting on this will also help us understand how the value mechanisms of other people work. Once again, the importance of being aware plays a crucial role here. It can help us explore values in connection with attitudes and behaviors, and it can help us understand what we do and why we do it, our actions and their consequences for ourselves and for others around us. That while coherence can be a value in itself, sometimes we can be in a situation where we can be partly or totally incoherent with our values. That what we consider good and desirable for us can be bad and improper for others based on their values. When exploring endeavors based on values, like youth work often does, it is very valuable to gradually realize that values are fixed neither in their meaning nor in time. While we might stand for something based on our own values, others may have an opposite stand. They too base their position on some values which we may legitimately consider improper or bad for us. Let's look at youth work, for example. We may all have the same mission or goal, like to engage, include, or empower young people, but our educational approaches aiming at those goals can be very different. So much that someone's approach to education may even be considered not educational at all by somebody else. So, a deep reflection on values can make it clear for us what our values are and what they are rooted in. It can also make us understand that while we might never agree with someone else's values, we can at least acknowledge the fact that their perception is also value-based. And maybe it will help us have more constructive arguments and a better value-based conversation.